Due to the glaze regarding your physical appearance, I think you're overlooking how negatively this article frames you in a mainstream audience, that you're ranting, slurping on drink, and casually yelling that America... No, you guys are being over the... Dog, it's a GQ article. Shut the up. You're being overly protective over a 34-year-old man. You're wrong. See, I knew I had a good reason to hate this article. In all seriousness, I didn't like it from the perspective of a boomer who used GQ. It seems like they didn't respect you, violated journalistic norms about background conversations, but it runs down the real work you do. Yeah, I don't care. How much does the PR cost you? $0.00.
Me and Hasan are like, we have the same agency. Everybody was like talking about like how Hasan would get like these, like get like an article written about and it was positive. And I actually sent it to like one of the guys there and, they really appreciated everybody giving him props. They really did.
Sheesh. So it seems like Hasan's never-ending string of puff pieces are starting to do more harm than good. Even his own community isn't happy about this one. But that isn't stopping Hasan from defending it over and over. And I gotta say, this guy's defense of the man that wrote this article is really starting to look suspicious, if you ask me. Because not only is everyone on the right laughing at him for it, even his own community hates it. But Hasan is still just sitting here, defending it over and over. I have some theories on why he's doing this, but first, let's take a look at it.
Man, that GQ auto was a rated hater? No, not necessarily. We'll talk about that in a second. Everybody calm down, okay? As soon as I woke up this morning, I found out that the GQ piece was out. I had just made fun of Travis Kelce yesterday about his wet, nude photo shoot that he did for GQ. Turns out I was on that same issue. Yours is also goofy as but also so hot. Bro, they did you fucking dirty. I wish that the GQ piece was actually had like my books, my choice books on here, because like there's editorial control on stuff like that. Rage Bait Final Boss, Hasan Piker and Zoran Mamdani. Big Z is the man. He's great. He's going to implement woke Sharia in New York. Very excited about that. All the buildings have to face Mecca. That kind of good stuff. Bro, the interview part of the article is fucking weird. I think a lot of you guys are not familiar with journalists and how journalists behave. And that's the reason why you guys are freaking out over the interview, because most of the time when I actually say yes to any kind of profile, I usually only work with journalists that I know ahead of time. And this was one of the instances where I just didn't even do my due diligence at all. But he was a regular journalist. And that is how regular journalists do pieces like this. It's not always going to be, all I'm saying is it's not going to be the way you expect it to. That's it. And he's a great writer. The dude actually is a great writer, but he's also a classic. He's just a journalist. That's how it is. Okay. That's how GQ is kind of too. It's a men's magazine. Yeah. It was not a hit piece at all. I don't know why you guys are saying that. Don't be weird. It was not. And it's interesting because like some people don't understand. Some people don't understand that like how these kinds of like editorial decisions come together. But it's fine. I'm not upset with it. And you guys shouldn't be either.
Hasan is just so insistent that this article doesn't make him look bad and that the writer is good. Like, the guy reiterates this so many times that it just ends up coming off suspicious. The reason his community hates it is because it draws parallels between him and people like Sneeko and Aiden Ross, and brings back up his checkered past like his statement saying America deserved 9/11. The guy even exposed his secret relationship with Valkyrie, even though he specifically asked him not to. I think his community is kind of rightfully upset, because this article does make him look like a totally unserious person that just shouldn't be listened to politically. Like, sure, the article did gush about his looks over and over, and said some full quotes about political subjects he seems to care a lot about, like Palestine. But from the outside looking in, I honestly think it just makes him look like a joke. But I think the real question is, why is Hasan so insistent that this article is good when everybody hates it? I mean, doesn't that come off a tad bit weird? I'd say it even comes off suspicious. Personally, I think he's so adamant about defending the writer and the piece because he doesn't want to upset the writers or the publications his PR or management team is obviously paying to write.
There are certain boundaries that you set before an interview, and a journalist always has the opportunity not to abide by the boundaries that you set. And it happens. Yeah, I'm an adult, and it's fine. You know, everybody needs to fucking calm down. All right. I think so. But yeah, this is not a hit piece by any measure, by any means whatsoever. I think y'all are y'all are expecting every article to to come across like it's just only going to be fucking a cheery. Okay? No, man, journalists abide by off the record rules unless it was a bit scummy. Okay, it's fine. Let's continue. I think it's because it came out very irreverent rather than neutral, so it can seem worse than it actually is. It's not. I think you guys are reading far too much into it, and you're wrong. And I'll explain why. I'll go through the article in a second. But it's great.
Personally, I think a journalist revealing your secret relationship you told them you didn't want to talk about is definitely kind of scummy. Especially when there's no reason this even needed to be in the article. It literally added nothing. And to be honest, his community is probably so upset because they know Hasan or his management team are paying for these articles, and they expected nothing but a glowing review. And when they seen just how unserious it made him look, they felt betrayed. But you see, Hasan has to stick to the plan. He has been trying to find out a way to combat the negative PR for a while. And this is his way of doing that.
When I see like a lot of young people watching me, it's another reminder that like, I take what I do very seriously in terms of like giving a alternative perspective to people that they never really frequent, they never really see. So it's a lot better. It's a lot better that they get their news from me than, you know, than get into like the brain rot content, I think. So that's something I got to work on as well. We don't have to, you know, something I got to actively push back against, like with all the clippers. I still don't know how. I still haven't been able to figure out. I guess like with overwhelming force, we just need to do positive clip PR.
See, this is all part of the positive PR plan he's been cooking up. And he knows if he upsets one of these journalists making puff pieces on him, then the next journalist set to write a puff piece on him probably won't want to. So that's why he's sitting here defending this guy as much as possible. Because he doesn't want to screw with what he calls his terrorism insurance.
Articles that used to be, in my opinion, the GQ article bookends really well with the NPR piece from the other day. They're both something you can point to normie libs if they have questions about Hasan, the terrorist supporting guy. Exactly. Exactly. Precisely. That is the whole point. A lot of these articles are just like terrorism insurance. Remember that. Okay? This is something you can show your parents. This is something you show like fucking insane haters and whatnot. Have you read it? It was terrible? No, it wasn't. It was not terrible at all. You guys are, again, being too parasocial, I think. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started on it. All right.
Brother, if you think this is going to make you look good to some trust fund kids' parents, I think you have another thing coming. And if you think this is just something you can show to an insane hater and make them think any differently of you, then you're just absolutely delusional. This just doesn't make you look good by any stretch of the imagination. And like I said, it's kind of suspicious that you're even suggesting that it does. And I gotta say, if you actually think it does, then you've completely lost the plot.
So we're going to start over here. Hasan Piker thinks America might be cooked. Now, before we get into it, yeah, this is my couch, yes. It's a fake cloud couch. It's not a real cloud couch that we got for like, my mom got this couch for, I think, like $1,000. And the real version of this is like $20,000. And she got it off like, it was like refurbished. It was fake. It's like a Temu ass sectional fake cloud couch.
Guys, it's fake, I promise. It's not a real $20,000 cloud couch. Okay, dude. Kinda weird to mention that, but sure.
Piker has no filter. That's one reason he's the hottest left-wing political commentator online. His management team consists of one single guy named David. So he basically has no leash and answers to no one. Shouts out David. Shouts out to David, my manager, who is constantly responding to these inbound requests. I feel like this is a funny mention because it kind of shows that there is no like massive PR team or whatever the people speculate. And it's just like outlets reaching out and then, my my manager responding.
See, this just goes to show that the guy that wrote this article just took whatever Hasan said is gospel. Because Hasan's claim that his management team is one single guy named David is just royally misleading at best. Because this guy, David, just so happens to be the vice president of Night Media, a management company with numerous high-profile creators, one of which is Asmongold. Yeah, just another case where Hasan downplays something to make himself seem more modest, just like he did with the couch. This guy is just so desperate to try and make his multi-millionaire ass more relatable to his parasocially brainwashed audience. But take a look at this story that Asmongold actually has regarding Night Media. It's actually quite interesting and basically confirms that Hasan's management company is probably behind all of this. Check this out.
It's night. It's night.
Is that they do his PR? I don't know if they do PR
I
though.
don't know if they do PR.
They say in this article that
Oh, they
he
do?
has his management team consists of one person that they mention by name.
Yeah.
But that person is like the senior vice president of Night Media.
Yeah. So Knight might not be
so-
doing
so,
PR.
like, the one person management team is Night Media.
Okay.
They tried to recruit me, and I said,
Ooh.
I mean, listen.
They're the big boys now, like
Yeah.
big time.
Well, I told him if they're representing terrorist sympathizers, then I'm not interested in partnering with them.
Did you actually say that, or is
Yeah.
it's just your retelling of it?
I say, you want me to join? Get rid of Hasan. The truth is, they should not be working with him. He is a disgusting, fucking toxic force, and like nobody should be working with him. That's the crazy thing.
Right.
But anyway, let's get into this.
That looks like the Costanza post.
I have no idea if they have a problem with Hasan or not. Because I'm part of Night Media too, right? I mean, everybody knows that. Like, you've been on 4chan, you'd know that. Like, because we're both, like, me and Hasan are, like, we have the same agency. And I never really, like, I never even brought it up, never thought about it. But, yeah, I don't think they really get a lot of hate. And I did say, like, this is something I said before, is that everybody was like talking about like how Hasan would get like these like get like an article written about and it was positive, and I actually sent it to like one of the guys there, and they really appreciated everybody giving them props. They really did. And what does your agency do for you? Oh, it's real simple. They set up different deals, different opportunities, etc. It's really just that simple. I mean, like, I don't know what they do for Hasan. I mean, obviously, like, it could be a different deal, it could be a different thing.
Sheesh, dude. Night Media is really out here trying to profit from every single angle of the streamer drama politics verse. And if Asmongold's story about Night Media is true, then we essentially have confirmation on what everyone already knew. These puff pieces are not organic. I mean, these things never are. There is always someone pulling the strings or some sort of payment happening. I just don't get it. Why does Hasan always have to be so disingenuous? When you try to downplay what you're doing, what you're buying, and how you are just like everyone else, it just comes off like you're trying to wear the skin of a commoner. When, let's be real, dude, you've never spent a day of your fucking life anywhere close to their shoes.
It's virtually nothing different between any of you guys and someone like myself, except for, like, I'm willing to bet that my beginning point is more affluent, more privileged. You know what I mean? That's it. Definitely. Like, I fucked up when I was a kid. I fucked up when I was a young adult. I mean, I got arrested. You know what I mean? Like, but the difference is, well, I mean, I was broke when I got arrested, so that's not the best example. But like, but still, like,
God, what a joke. This guy is a profoundly unserious person.
Here's how Hasan Piker starts each day. Working out, shooting the shit. It's Monday, 8:30 a.m., and we're in the backyard of a house in West Hollywood where there's a makeshift private gym with benches, pull-down machines, and dumbbells galore. This is where the 34-year-old political influencer keeps his thirsted after body fit, joined by a few other neighborhood characters, including a guy who works on Pod Save America. His Bernese beefcake, Kaya, tussles with a few other golden brown dogs. As Piker burns through a 70-minute workout, exhausting himself in the process, he strips his shirt off. An army of girls and gays, not to mention admiring looks maxers, would kill to be where I am now, next to Piker, as he pants in a pair of neon shorts with black Calvin Klein boxers poking out and the sunlight glinting off the sweat beaded on his chest hairs. I will say this. This dude's a great writer, okay? He's a little irreverent in his tone. And he does something in this article that is like a little bit of a no-no, but journalists do all the time because they're under no obligation to listen to whoever the they're profiling. He's young, but he's a great writer overall, and I think a lot of people will. I'll get to the parts where I think a lot of people will probably take issue with, but it's not a hit piece at all. You guys are so stupid for thinking that. Anyway, one of the main things people criticize Piker for, besides the whole champagne socialist thing, which is overblown, is taking criticism poorly. Piker acknowledges while also criticizing the criticism of how he takes criticism. Still, he seems to realize he's made mistakes in the past. He cites ReactGate, the backlash he faced for putting content on stream while stepping away from the camera for extended periods of time. This is so crazy and so niche to talk about on fucking Gentleman's Quarterly, he says with a chuckle. I did not respond well to that at all. I apologized immediately and said I would never watch the critics' videos again, but then people kept hammering it over and over again, and after a while I was just like, all right, well, fuck these people. Now he only watches YouTube videos from people he knows. As obnoxious as methods are, Piker clearly has genuine convictions. Remember what the web was like back in the 2010s when YouTube was overrun with mini Ben Shapiro's and wrecking blue-haired SJW's compilations? Now there's a cluster of progressive influencers who Piker proudly calls Hasanabi heads. He co-signs Sean the Black, Chris Kunzler, Jam, and overzealots. He's also trying to mentor new establishment dem influencers like Dean Withers and Harry Sasson. I told Dean, well, I don't know why he added Harry Sasson in there. I did talk to Dean Withers in the past, though. I told Dean personally, 1, stop with this liberalism shit. Cut it out. Become more leftist. And 2, try to do things that are not just debate focused, he says. They're not listening to me, so who knows? Some would argue that if the Democrats were smart, they'd go all in on leftist populism and subsidize a Piker-led creator boot camp to help beat back Trump 2.0. But Piker has no faith in liberal politicians. He thinks Kamala Harris, who currently leads in many polls about prospective Democratic presidential candidates, has no shot in 2028. He's not even convinced there will be elections in 2028. I mean, it's moving in that direction pretty hard. All it takes is one big event for Donald Trump, who's been salivating at this, to be like, it's martial law time, Piker says. First, they will take out or erode some of these constitutional protections, whether it be due process, birthright, citizenship, and the First Amendment. Then they'll rebuild the legal system to their advantage in a way that suits their white nativist agenda. Once again, the reason why I appreciate this article is because while it ends up humanizing me and showing me in maybe even more vulnerable settings and reveals certain aspects of my life, like the death threats and the swatting and all this shit, it also simultaneously does a decent job of showcasing my perspective. See, I knew I had a good reason to hate this article. In all seriousness, I didn't like it from the perspective of a boomer who used GQ. It seems like they didn't respect you, violated journalistic norms about background conversations, but it runs down the real work you do. Yeah, I don't care. And I don't think this is written from the point of like not respecting me. I think this is supposed to be irreverent. And therefore, the tone of it comes across as a lack of respect. The reason why I say this is because, like, if it was negative, they could have just slammed this chock full of shit. Like, Hasan has said this and that. He loves Hamas. He loves terrorism. All this stuff. It doesn't take that tone or that approach at all. It very clearly shows what I believe in. It very clearly says that I am authentically engaged with the commentary space and the things that I advocate for. It's like, yes, I'm stubborn and hard-headed, but also it doesn't mince. It doesn't like chop up my words or my ideology in any way. So it's ultimately, I think, the tone that people are stuck with, or that one moment where it's like, don't ask me about that sort of thing. I don't talk about that sort of thing. That moment is like, that's typical journalism. It's like, it is what it is. Anyway, I don't know why people say it's bad. I mean, I think it's very good. I like it. Dude, look at this. This alone is perfect. First, they will take out or erode some of the constitutional protections, whether it be due process, birthright citizenship in the First Amendment. Then they'll rebuild the legal system to their advantage in a way that suits their white nativist agenda. That's a direct quote down to my unconditional, uncompromising defense of Palestinian emancipation. Most articles, most serious news outlets that have tremendous amounts of editorial control will not allow stuff like that to be written, okay?
Guys, this is really good, guys. It doesn't make me look bad, guys. This isn't for your grandma, guys. It's for business professionals, guys. Holy dude, give it a break. We get it. You don't want to upset the machine doing positive PR for you. But dude, come on. Maybe it's time to stop the PR tour. Every time one of these come out, you just get laughed at because of how obviously unorganic this has all been.
How much does the PR cost you? $0.00. And maybe a decent chunk of my mental health. But that's it. I think some of the stuff people aren't appreciating stuff at the beginning because the GQ audience in particular will receive these characterizations of you in a negative manner. The second half is more substantive. I don't think so. I think I assume a lot of the criticisms that people have is like a comparison between Aiden Ross and Sneeko because people don't understand that in and of itself is not actually an indictment of my politics at all, but simply an indictment in the space and the sphere that I occupy. That's number one, and people misunderstand that. Number two is like the part where I say like I don't talk about those sorts of things when he's just like fueling speculation, right? And he just like added it directly in there. And I guess like what's the other part? Due to the glaze regarding your physical appearance, I think you're overlooking how negatively this article frames you in a mainstream audience, that you're ranting, slurping on drink, and casually yelling that America... No, you guys are being over the... Dog, it's a GQ article. Shut the fuck up. You're being overly protective over a 34-year-old man who has a decent understanding of how the fucking media works. Okay? You're literally... You're wrong. It's a GQ article, okay? Like, do you guys think that was a hit piece? If you think that there's a hit piece, you are literally lost in the sauce. Let's be real. Please stop infantilizing me.
It might not have been a hit piece, but it did make you come off like an unserious joke. But that's probably because you are an unserious joke. So I guess it did kind of portray you quite accurately. But that doesn't make it any less suspicious that you seem to be defending the guy when he revealed your secret relationship. It seems like your community is more upset that he did that than you are. Or is it you don't want to show how upset you are? 'Cause it might send your rabid fans to attack this guy across all of his social media. Then your positive PR machine and your terrorism insurance might come to a screeching halt. And that's the last thing Hasan wants. He sees this as his, protective armor for all the insane things he says on a daily basis. He thinks this is like correcting the record for normies. But in reality, it's just showing those normies that might know who he is, but not much about him, that they probably should just continue to avoid him, because he provides no value to the conversation. At least that's my 2 cents. All right, guys, I said my bit. I hope you guys liked the video. And if you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, YouTube thinks you're going to like this video right here.